Now it's time for our weekly energy update with Dan McTeague, president of Canadians for Affordable Energy. All yours, Dan.
Teresa, what a week it's been. Again, we keep saying that, but we're getting a lot closer to a federal election. We know that the Carney Liberals, who don't have a mandate to govern, have said, oh, they're going to suspend the carbon tax. Well, let's put that in perspective. They're not suspending the carbon tax. They're going to put it on a temporary pause until after the election's over. Then they're going to reapply it to every Canadian. It may not be considered a consumer carbon tax, but it'll be an industrial carbon tax. It's really a shell game. It's playing with numbers, and it's of course playing with your pocketbook, your wallet. Why I don't trust the Liberals and why I believe this is deception, call it what it is, a lie, is because in 2019 they said that the carbon rate would never go above $80 a ton. So in other words, what we're paying today, about 17.61 cents a liter for gasoline plus HST, GST, depending on where you are in Canada. Instead, of course, they moved it to $170 a ton. By all indication, Mark Carney, his green ambitions, for which he is a prime architect, for which he is the chief Manchurian candidate, call it what you want, has every intention of taking that price and making it much harder, more difficult on Canadians. So it's only a pause. I'm not surprised that Doug Ford is kind of liking him, because Doug Ford needs his money to build EVs that the world doesn't want. Now we've blocked EVs from coming in from China much cheaper than we can make them here because they're not subsidized. Maybe they are. But of course, that's now caused a counter tariff from China. So we have tariffs coming in the United States, tariffs coming from China. That 100% tariff on canola and other products such as pork and, of course, some fisheries products means that farmers are very much in trouble. And we're talking about farmers who have done a very good job over the years at maintaining our productivity and ensuring the world gets ample supply. But that's going to hurt Western Canadian farmers. It's going to hurt farmers in general. And of course, it means a trade-off, a Doug Ford, Mark Carney trade-off in which they're prepared to say no to bringing in vehicles that could be much cheaper, perhaps even better made, don't require massive public subsidies to the tune of $60 or $70 billion. And I mean, it's really galling to see that this is really the strategy behind Doug Ford. He's basically, like Mark Carney, willing to sacrifice the economy of this province, of this country, in order to get by on a favorite pet project, which is an abysmal failure. I'll say abysmal failure because here in Ontario, the Chrysler plant in Brampton, still not open, no EVs being built there. The Ford plant in Oakville, no EVs there, F-250s. The Stellantis plant in Windsor, all these grifters have received a lot of money, still no vehicles, still no intention of putting anything on the market. The Bright Drop van plant, the delivery van plant, was supposed to sell 100,000 units by this time. After about a year and a half, 2 years, they sold 2,100. I have pictures of Ingersoll. I went around the facility on so-called Thompson Road in Ingersoll, which you can see from the 401, and the lot is filled with these vehicles. So it seems to me that we are continuing down this road of saying, let's push net zero. What we're doing is we're pushing the Canadian economy to the ground. That means, of course, gasoline prices, although they have not really moved across the country in the past week, it looks like we could be in for a bit of a drop temporarily. The drop will happen on April 1st, so 4 or 5 days after the election. I would expect that by 2 weeks after the election, sometime in mid-May, likely the third week of May, should Canadians make the mistake of voting for Mark Carney and the Liberals, what's going to happen is you're going to get that tax right back onto you. That 20 cents a litre is going to be reapplied. You'll see the second carbon tax, which is currently 4 cents a litre, moving up to 20 cents a litre by 2030. And the remainder of that existing carbon tax going from $80 a ton to $170 a ton will be another 20 cents a litre. Can you afford 50 cents a litre more at the pumps? Can you afford that price going into the market, including the price of food? Can you continue not having jobs for your children? Can you continue paying for high rents? Look, I'm not making a political rant. I'm simply saying for Canadians, wake up. Because what you're doing right now by undermining our energy ability, our ability to get things to market, and playing games with tariffs and putting massive amounts of public borrowed money into things that people don't want, that they no longer need, and for which most people have no use for, at a time in which the country cannot afford to make ends meet, we have these folks going out there pretending that somehow they can use the Donald Trump issue as a trump card to advance these very poor policies that have failed Canadians. And by the way, it's not lost on folks like me that it takes a Donald Trump for Canadians to realize just how patriotic we ought to be. It's nice to have the Canadian flag. I simply say, for the past 10 years, where have you been? We've been sold this idea of a post-national state, that the country doesn't matter, that our international obligations come well before the interests of the country. It's time for that to stop. And I think there's really only one solution for Canadians. We can't continue this way. As an 18-year Liberal member of Parliament, I can only say there's one party that represents the views I hold, and that's the Conservative Party. And I hope in the next election, Canadians really take the time to consider the days of socks, sobbing, selfies, and nice hair are over. This is not about a banker running the country. I find it very funny that left-wing socialists think a banker is somehow a solution to the country. It's time for us to grow up, wake up, smell the coffee, because we cannot afford another 40 years of Mark Carney and his Liberals. Now, that's not a political statement. It's a reality statement. And as someone who is a Liberal of 18 years and has the creds to prove it, it doesn't make me feel good about having to say that. But unfortunately, there is only one party at the center right now, and that happens to be the Conservative Party. Whether they'll disappoint in the future, I don't know. The country cannot afford to go down this road. You don't have the money in your wallet to pay for what they have as an ambition. At the end of the day, it's all about 15-minute cities, less food, less energy, less consumption. At the end of the day, less you. So that's it for this week, Teresa. I'll talk a little bit more next week as we get closer to that day, because of course we have the price of gasoline will likely rise about 10 cents a liter on the 15th of April, even though you get a 20-cent discount on the carbon tax temporarily, because it's really a trick. You'll get an increase of 9 or 10 cents a liter because of the switch from winter to summer gasoline. So that's the big ticket items that are coming down the pipe. I don't see oil dropping much more. We are seeing a certain shortage. Beware of the fact that in the United States, they can talk a lot about drill, baby, drill. The kind of oil that the United States has is great for making gasoline. It's light, it's tight, but it can't make diesel. If you don't have diesel, you can't run your farm. You can't run your transport infrastructure. You can't run your rail. You can't run your aviation. So at the end of the day, Canada needs to up the game, recognize that the world wants more of our energy. They've proven it. They've been to our door. 12 leaders, our most trusted partners have come to Canada saying, listen, we need more of your energy. It's time for us to give that to them. And by the way, on the issue of natural gas, we have to build out LNG. We've lost 18 of these projects, and it's cost us tremendously. The Americans sell it for $15 a barrel, $15 an MB, a million cubic feet. We sell it to them for $3. We are being taken advantage of because we've decided to follow the net zero Pied Pipers and to shut down our energy infrastructure. That's not acceptable. It's time for change, Canada.